Okay, so Shavua Tov, everybody. We're continuing in Pachad Yitzchok on Shabbat in Maamar Yud Gimel, the 13th essay. We're in the middle, and we were talking about marvelous things about the third meal and the three tefillot, the three different prayers over the course of Shabbat day that correspond to the various levels of Shabbat, the apex being Sudah Shlishit, and we asked why is it that the halachot to fulfill the obligation of the third meal are the most lenient if it is indeed the highest point of Shabbos. And in our course of discussing these issues, we explored how Shabbos itself, in the words of Chazal, are called edut. They're called testimony. And that means that the spiritual components, cosmically, of what make up edut are present in Shabbos' being. And we said that in the Torah, edut is two things. The laws of edut are you can give testimony if you, in the words of the verse, if you witness something, meaning if you've seen it yourself, or if you know it to be true. So the two aspects of being able to testify, the two criteria, or each separate criteria that allows somebody to testify, are either knowing something to be true or actually seeing it. And since we say not just Shabbos is testimony, but also the Torah is testimony, we link these two ideas to various aspects of the Torah. We said the Torah generally, overall, all the mitzvot are considered a testimony, like the prophet says that when Am Yisrael keeps the Torah, it is edut, it is testimony that God is God, and that there is a level of testimony in a detail of the Torah itself, which is the luchot, the tablets of law. And we said that the giving of the Torah, Maamar Har Sinai, was witnessing. That's when everybody witnessed, right, that the Torah is real. And everything else, the general body of Torah that they received from Moshe, they know it to be true. So there's the knowing and the witnessing. And we're going to say that those two aspects of testimony are present in the actual experience of Shabbos. Okay, so that was my general review. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I believe we're going to pick up anyway from Chet. Okay, so Ma'angei Shabbat v'to'ameh, those that delight in Shabbos and those that taste it, Yimtsa'u et ha'orot shel hadiburim ha'alalu, they will find the lights of these words, Kishehim niklatim b'matbea, when you see how they are received or embedded, recorded in the form of the tefillot shachris to Shabbos, in the prayer of the morning of Shabbos. Halo kach ne'amar, doesn't it say so? Sham b'ma'alta shel kedushat Shabbat, in describing the greatness of the sanctity of Shabbos. Kiktuva hi gam beluchot v'gam b'Torah. Right? What do we say in Shachris Shabbos? We say, hey, Shabbos is so great, the sanctity of Shabbos is so great that it's expressed in the Torah, right? And also in the Luchot, we say, Yismach Moshe, right? Moshe should rejoice b'matnat chelko, in the receiving of his portion. Right? Ki eved ne'aman karatalo, you called him a true, a faithful servant. Klil tiferet, one second. Okay, one second. Birosho, right? He had a mantle of beauty, right, on his head, right, etc., etc. And then it says, right, Ushnei luchot avanim harit biyado, and he brought 2 tablets of law down with his own hand, right? Ushmirat Shabbat. And v'katuv b'hem shmirat Shabbat. What were the contents? What's so great about the luchot that it talks about the sanctity of Shabbos on the luchos, right? V'chein katuv b'torasecha. And it also says in your general Torah. It doesn't just talk about the sanctity of Shabbos in the luchos, but also in your Torah. So why does the contents of it's such a strange articulation? Moshe is so great because he brought down the luchot in his own hands. And the luchot are so great because they talked about the sanctity of Shabbos. And you know what? It also talks about the sanctity of Shabbos in your Torah. What's going on over here? Mm-hmm. So we're noting that the prayers themselves, in regards to Shabbos, are singling out that Shabbos has an aspect that's latent in the general Torah. It's expressed in terms of testimony, and also in the specific luchot themselves. In the luchot themselves, it is the testimony of witness, right? That Am Yisrael saw with their own eyes how God talked to Moshe, like the verse attests. And in the Torah itself, they received that other aspect or criteria or category of being able to witness, which is knowledge, meaning the rest of the Torah that they received, right, from Moshe, it was known to be true because they witnessed God giving over the Torah to Moshe by the luchot. Okay? So that's what the prayers are referring to. Ma'ala zo, this great quality, the Shabbos, of Shabbos itself, shehi ktuva gam beluchot v'gam b'Torah. We're saying, look how great Shabbos is, that it's not just written on the micro within luchot, but it's given over, many aspects of Shabbos are given over in the general of the Torah itself. Mativo, what is the point? Amnam, however, heim advarim, that is the point. Kemoshe matzino b'shem edut, just like we find in the name, right, of this concept of testimony, the Torah that is latent in the Torah, shemitchalek hu leklaliyut haTorah b'Torah yidiyat de'edut v'leluchot habrit b'Torah ra'ayah de'edut, just like we find that it's compartmentalized, right? It occurs twice, both in the general of the Torah itself, which is the part of testimony, which is knowledge, and also within the tablets of the covenant, which are the seeing itself of testimony. Kemo kain, so too, similarly, matzinu, we find these aspects, gam b'shem edut, within the name of edut, the Shabbat, which is in the, meaning latent within the testimony of Shabbos. You have the Torah ra'ayah de'edut, you have the Torah of, or rather the contents of edut, which is seeing, shehi b'dargah de luchot, which corresponds to the level of luchot, and you have the Torah of yediyah de'edut, you have the knowledge of edut, shehi b'dargah de kol Torah, which is the level of the whole Torah, the general Torah. So in our own words, to paraphrase, we're saying that just like Torah has these two aspects of edut, they have seeing something directly, which is the luchot, just like Am Yisrael saw, and there is the knowledge of something to be true, even if you don't necessarily see it because it's trustworthy, which is the general Torah. So too, you have in Shabbos itself, you have the Kedusha of Shabbos, which is manifest in Re'iyah, that you see it directly, and then there's the Kedusha of Shabbat that you're going to find out, that you know to be true, even if you didn't experience it literally when it happened, you didn't see it, you're going to now know that it is true.
And what are those two?
We're going to say. This shows al shikulata shel Shabbat, within the weight of the gravitas of Shabbos itself, keneged kol Torah, which corresponds to the whole Torah. Just like these two aspects are represented in the Torah itself, we're going to have these aspects in Shabbos itself. Ki Shabbat mitzad atzmav, because Shabbat, from its own sake, nimtzeti, it is to be found within it, b'dargah de luchot, it's on the level of luchot, cosmically, and it's on the level of all the Torah, cosmically. V'chol gedrei ha'idut, and all the different laws and parameters of testimony, hanimtzaim b'klaliyotah shel Torah, which are to be found in the generality of Torah, nimtzaim heim, they are to be found b'ktushata shel Shabbat, within the sanctity of Shabbat, b'gvulotah, within her specific parameters, shel Shabbat atzma, of Shabbat itself, v'havein heitev, and understand well. We're going to now say that these are where do we see them? We're going to talk about where that is to be seen. We're going to link that back into the man, the giving of the man in the midbar, because that's where the Torah delineates this phenomenon as experienced in Shabbos itself. Okay, let's see. Umikan, and from here, hu hashoresh lezeh, this is the root. She'anu mechalkim b'kdushata shel Shabbat, ben kavod hayom shel kedushat Shabbat, u'ben kavod halayla shel kedushat Shabbat. In the halachot, there are actually practical halachot that we have to show the honor of the day of Shabbos to be greater than when you honor it at night. The halacha is that during the daytime you achieve a sanctity of Shabbat, that the honor is meant to be higher. You're supposed to respond with a higher honor. So, for example, if you only have one of the ways of honoring Shabbos you can is to have lechem mishnah. You're supposed to have lechem mishnah at all meals. Let's say a person only has lechem mishnah by one meal. Do you do it at night or during the day? Right.
Day.
Right. Let's say you have kiddush only to say, right, on wine, right? Do you say make wine? You can make kiddush on the bread if you have to, right? So meaning the honor. Let's say you have a dish that you really love. You're going to have it for one of the meals. So you honor the day with it, right? You're commanded to honor the day greater than at night. Why? So we're going to tie that into this too. V'lo od, and not only so, ella she'ifsik alan hilchata, that we paskin lehalacha. If you cannot fulfill the honor of both the night and the day, that if there is a conflict between honoring the day and honoring the night, it is best to reserve the honoring for the day. Those are the same. This is the same issue that we began to explain in the previous words. If it were not for the dimension of testimony that is present in Shabbos, you would not have this phenomenon where we could distinguish between the honoring of the night and honoring of the day, because those correspond to the two different aspects of testimony. Day and night, because really, right, they get the same sanctity of Shabbos. They're equal in their sanctity. Meaning it's not any less Shabbos. It doesn't mean that you should fulfill Shabbos less at night and more during the day. It means that in terms of honoring, it's more to put the focus when the honoring takes place. It should be present during the day. Since Shabbos is called testimony, the truth, right, is that the existence of testimony is made up of these two faces. These dual expressions are within the being of Edut. Partsuf shel Re'iyah, the face of seeing, upartsuf shel Yediyah, and the face of knowledge. Mimela bal karchacha shegam b'Shabbat nimtzayim mehem shnei partsufim halal. So Torah, the Shabbos itself is going to express. There's going to be a part of Shabbos that expresses this character of the seeing of testimony, and there's going to be a part of Shabbos that experiences the knowledge, the type of testimony that's just knowledge. Umima'ora haman, and from the incident of the man, the giving of the manna in the desert, atalomed, you will learn, we will see, ki chiluk partzufim zu shel Shabbat, where these to be able to distinguish between these two faces of testimony on Shabbos. Behetem lechiluk yom v'layla shel Shabbat hu mechuvan, and this corresponds to the difference between the day and the night, because the verse says by the man, it says boker, in the day of Shabbat. It says like this. Vayomer Moshe. Okay, so for those of us that say Kiddush on the third meal of Shabbat, it's the contents of the Kiddush is the Parshat Haman, and it says Vayomer Moshe, Ichlu hayom ki Shabbat hayom laDonai, hayom lo timtzeu basadeh, Re'u ki Adonai nasan lachem haShabbos, al kein hu nosen lachem bayom hashishi lechem yomayim. Okay, so he says that God sanctified the Shabbos basically by giving you double on Friday. You're not going to find it in the field on Shabbos. Don't collect it on Shabbos, right? Don't go out on Shabbos. Al yitzei ish mimkomo bayom hashvi. Don't go out of your place bayom hashvi. Vayishbitzu ha'am bayom hashvi, and they rested on the seventh day. Meaning the double portion that you receive is going to be on Friday, is going to be for the sanctity of Shabbos itself, right? And it says boker, in the morning, v're'item erev, v're'item, in the morning you will see, erev, at night, v'yadatem, and you will know.
That's in the pasuk.
Yes. So what is it talking about? In the morning you will see, and in the evening you will know. Re'iyat haboker, the seeing, the witnessing of the morning. What did they witness in the morning? If they collected on Yom Shishi twice, what did they see?
There's no man in the morning.
That there was no man given in the morning?
Yeah.
It's that which they collected the day before. Usually what happens, you couldn't collect from one day to the other, because if you tried to collect extra, it rotted. So you collected. So, okay, great, you collected extra on Yom Shishi. But the fact that was meant for Shabbos, and out of the sanctification of Shabbos, you got extra. This was actually Shabbos's because they saw an extra miracle that normally that miraculous man miraculously melted, now it miraculously stayed. So that which you got for Shabbos, you did not know that it was for Shabbos, only post facto when it didn't melt or spoil. So that, okay, Re'iyat haboker, the seeing of the day, garma, it causes limafreya, retroactively, yediyah balayla, that you know what happened the night before.
Right.
So you only know post facto the yediyah. Like we explained previously. So what happens? The knowing of something to be true, you could not witness it, that it was for Shabbos at that point, because it's only post facto when it doesn't melt, that you know that which you saw the night before was indeed for the sanctity of Shabbos. So that's post facto, right? But what you're witnessing, what you actually see, that's in the day that it doesn't melt. So you see both the knowledge and the witnessing, right, all come to bear finally by the day, and retroactively it's the knowledge attends to the night, but the seeing, which is the choicest type of witnessing, that is happening during the day, and that's why we honor everything is on the day. Okay, so really nothing changed, nothing is more than it was at night. It all happened at night, but your consciousness
it's more intense.
Your consciousness doesn't come up to date and get on the train till then. So that's why the honoring has to be done then, but really the Iker Kiddush is really at night.
Mm-hmm.
But the Kiddush during the day is just the Rabbanan, because nothing changed. Okay? So, Re'iyat haboker, the seeing, what you witness during the next day, garma, causes limafreya, retroactively, yediyah, a knowledge, balayla, at night, the night before. A love, and from, automatically, by itself, nimshachu akav hala, the line of reasoning goes further. Ki adifuto, the choice, meaning saying, the prioritizing, shel kavod hayom, of the honor of the sanctity of the day, al kavod halayla, over the honor of the sanctity of the night, mushashu, it is rooted ba'adifuta, in the prioritizing or the higher quality of the re'iyah, the seeing, agabe yediyah, upon the knowing. Okay? So the day is greater because the day is when seeing happens, whereas at night, you know. V'hine halacha ravachat hi, the kiddush Shabbat, shachrit, eino ela derabanan. So now we're going to explore this further by pointing out that really the mitzvah of sanctifying Shabbos over wine, well, the ritual of wine was given us by the Chachamim, but the mitzvah d'oraita is, you have to say, Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh. You have to acknowledge and say, today is the holy day of Shabbos. And we do that over the ritual of wine. And that is a d'oraita. To say that today is Shabbos is a d'oraita to say upon the onset of Shabbos at night. There is no mitzvah d'oraisa to make Kiddush Shabbos day. The Chachamim gave us a mitzvah d'Rabbanan to also sanctify the day out of consideration that there should be an honor for the day too. But really, in terms of what you're saying, right, is much weaker and does not really have the same kind, doesn't even have the content to be Mekayim, right, to fulfill the mitzvah Shabbos. You would not be Yotze, the contents, with the contents of the Kiddush of Shabbos day, you would not be Yotze the Chiyuv of Kiddush d'Oraisa.
Shabbat day.
Or even at night. Meaning the obligation of Kiddush d'Oraita cannot necessarily be fulfilled by what you would need to fulfill the requirements of Shabbos day. For example, Shabbos day we point out, all you have to say is Al Kain Berach Hashem, right?
Yeah.
But all that stuff that you say Friday night, right? That it's an oaths and Kivanu V'charta, right? All that stuff, right? If you would miss Shabbos Kiddush at night, let's say whatever you slept through, you were sick, and you have to say Kiddush on Shabbos day, you have to do the Kiddush on Shabbos night. Because you still have the obligation to do Kiddush d'Oraita, and you would not be Yotze with the Kiddush d'Rabbanan of Shabbos day. Okay? So he's explaining now. We remember also we talked about how Shabbos Kiddush at night is...
It's full of Kiddush.
Yeah, but we also talked about how it says, V'Shabbat Kodshecha hin chaltanu v'Shabbat Kodsho hin chilanu. That we talked about the Rashba. We'll come back to it. We talked about how the formula of a bracha usually follows. There's the Baruch Atah Hashem, and there's Asher Kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. And the Kiddush of Friday night has both those aspects of directly addressing God and addressing Him in third person in the contents of the Kiddush itself. And we switch the order where we end with directly addressing God, right? V'Shabbat Kodshecha, right? And in your sanctity, right? In Chilanu, or in Chatanu. Okay, so now, V'Hizber Lanu Haran. Okay, so Rabbeinu Nisim Gaon, the Rishon, he explained to us the time shel takana zo, the Kiddush Shachar to Shabbos. Why did the Chachamim give us? Why did they decree that we should make a Kiddush Shabbos day? Hainu mishum dekavod hayom adif mikavod halayla, because we want to express somehow the honor of the day, that it should have greater honor than the honor of the nighttime. So how would that come across if we only fulfilled our obligation at night and we didn't make a Kiddush Shabbos day? So out of the honor of Shabbos, we gave it a Kiddush too. And therefore, the rabbis wrote for us a special Kiddush Shabbos day, but it's just to express the honor of Shabbos day. It has nothing to do with fulfilling the obligation of Kiddush. Okay? Midvarim halalu, from these words we learn. Midvarim halalu atalomed, from these words we learn, ki chovat kiddush, diaraita, the Torah obligation for Kiddush, koleleti et halayla vet hayom, it actually fulfills, it includes within it the day and the night. In terms of Kiddush, there's no distinction. B'hashva achat, with equanimity, with equality. Ela shebo chachamim, but rather, the rabbis came, v'tiknu, and they decreed, hitpartut, a specific, detailed articulation, miuchedet, special, la'adifuto shel kvod hayom, to prioritize the honor of Shabbos day. Ubikan, and through this, nitgaleh lanu, it is revealed to us, hageniza, the hiddenness, hanemtzeit, which is to be found b'matbea hakfelot shel hakavat hanigle v'anister b'kiddush hayom shel Shabbos. So the sanctification of Shabbos, the Kiddush, has within these words this hiddenness of this double of the nigla and the nister, the revealed and the hidden, like we talked about before. That God is hidden, and yet we say Baruch Atah. You can't know God. We only know God through His actions. That's what's revealed. Revealed is how God engages with us in the world, and where He's hidden is His essence Himself. And we refer to both these aspects in when we bless, and specifically in the Kiddush itself. But we refer in the Kiddush, it's all revealed. Like we mentioned in paragraph 3, in the beginning of this Maamar, the beginning of the words of the Kiddush, he are, quote, V'Shabbat Kodsho Hinchilanu, and the sanctity of his Shabbos he bequeathed to us. V'Siyumo, and when we end the Kiddush, it says V'Shabbat Kodshecha, and the sanctity of your Shabbos, yours, directly addressing God, Hin Chaltanu, you bequeath to us. Hatchila, the beginning, Shal Nistar, which refers to the hidden, Beguf Shlishi, in third person, V'Siyem, Shal Nigla, Beguf Sheni, and we ended with the revealed in directly addressing God. Ki hem advarim, that's exactly the point. Mikivan shekiddush zeh dioraita kolehu gam et hayom v'gam et halayla b'ashva achad. Because remember, really, the wording of the kiddush of the night is meant to include the reality of the night and the day. It's really supposed to cover for the day too. Remember, the kiddush of Shabbos day is all extra. Let's pretend it doesn't exist for a second and relate to the words of the Shabbos Kiddush coming to address actual Kiddush D'Oraita. It's mentioning two aspects here, and those correspond to the honor, the essence of Shabbos night and the essence of Shabbos day, which correspond to these two aspects of witnessing.
Of the seeing and the knowing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So right at night, it's not known; it's hidden because it's Yediyah. Mm-hmm. But during the day, we witness it, we see it. Mm-hmm. So the first line in the beginning of the Kiddush is referring to at night, where it's V'Shabbat Kadsho Hinchilanu, after the fact, because what's going to happen at night is going to be referred to as Yediyah, knowing. But V'Shabbat Kadshecha Chatanu, you directly addressing, that's the seeing that we experience Shabbos day. That's the second statement in the Kiddush. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Ki Heim Hamadvar, Mikivan Shekiddush Zo D'Oraita Kolehu Gam Et Hayom V'Gam Et Halayla B'Ashva Achat Harei Min Hadin Hu Shetim Sebo Kveilot Zeh. That's the double referred to here in the Kiddush, the night and the day. Ki Zehu HaKlal, this is the rule. Signona Shel Hara'iyah, the style of seeing, hu signon hanochach the guf sheni, that is expressed in the style of referring directly. when we talk directly. V'ilu, signona shel hayidiyah, and the style, the literary style, which alludes to yidiyah of knowledge, hu signon hanistar de guf shlishi, that is the literary style in communicating through a third person. Hamagal chushi omer, the direct contact of the senses states ata, you. It's a direct confrontation, right? Utfisat hadat, and grasping something intellectually, the knowledge of something which is not necessarily born out of a direct touch with a sensual contact, but rather a grasping of something intellectually, is who? It. Referring to something objectively removed, right? And that's third person. And in a place where we want to express directly both this idea of knowledge and seeing, that is expressed in this double reference, double literary reference. Gam ata, also saying you directly, v'gam hu, and also referring to it or him. So the aspect, the way this doubleness works is that that which we initially expressed refers back onto itself. Etzem tochno, the main content, inu el chazar al atzmo, is the doubling back and re-referencing itself. Meaning, we talk about something and then we talk about it again as it. V'rak shebetocha shel hachazar atzma yesh bo shinui hagufim, and it's only in doubling up something that you have a contrast that both emerge. L'chein hu holech u'mishtaneh misignon hanistar shel guf shlishi l'signon hanochel shel guf sheni. So it originally articulates the same content which it articulated, right? The idea of Shabbat Kodesh was bequeathed. First, we refer to it in third person, and then we go back and we talk about it directly, and then you have these two components.
The Kiddush of the Shabbat day will only have one component.
It doesn't have either of the components. It just says Al Ken Berach. It's
You
Yom HaShabbos, Yom HaShabbat Vaykatshehu.
To fill that up, it would have been nice.
It only refers, Al Ken Berach, it's Yom HaShabbat Vaykatshehu, is third person. That God blessed Shabbos and He sanctified it. It doesn't say you bless Shabbos.
That's the opposite of what you would expect.
No, I'm saying the whole thing's a freebie. The whole thing, we don't see any of it. We are still, we would like to let everybody know that the official Alshech state is still stable and there's no need for concern. And though we are experiencing technical difficulties, we will be right back up momentarily. No, we're saying that we don't see any of this. You cannot analyze the contents of Shabbat day at all to understand any of this. The whole thing doesn't fit with the formula, and the whole thing's a freebie. So we're discounting that whole thing, and we're saying because really the Shabbat that makes sense, that conforms to law, that's going to have true content, that's going to tell us anything about the nature of Shabbos is Shabbos night. And we're just focusing on that, and we're saying both these things are present. Mm-hmm. So we can't really analyze Shabbos day to elucidate any of these things for us. That's why we discounted that, and we focused on, okay? עצם תוכנו אינו אלא חזרה על עצמו, ורק שבתוכה של החזרה עצמה יש בה שינוי הגופים. It's only because we doubled up and we said the same content from two different perspectives that we can contrast the two. לכן הוא הולך ומשתנה מסגנון הנסתר של גוף שלישי לסגנון הנוכל של גוף שני. That's why in the body of the Kiddush itself, it changes from the style of third person to first person. מתחילים שבת קודשו הנחילנו. We start off saying, and the Shabbat, in His holy Shabbos, He bequeathed to us, third person. And we end Shabbat Kodshecha Hinchaltanu. You, right? God bequeathed to us your holy Shabbos.
And that's opposite to normal bracha, which is personal at the beginning and then third party.
We address Baruch Atah Hashem because we have to, but the only way, right? What do we say? We say that what you have done, which is how we know you, and it's in third person, what that He has done. He has sanctified us, and He has commanded us, right? Whereas here, the contents of the thing itself represents both these things. Meaning, in what we bless God of doing, that He gave us the sanctity of His Shabbos, we mentioned that, both third person and first person, because in Shabbos itself, you have both those manifestations of directly, meaning the seeing, the witnessing of seeing, and the witnessing of knowing. And that's in the Shabbos day and the Shabbos night, which is the man.
So the Kiddush of night starts off third party and then goes First party.
Because Shabbos itself starts with the night and goes to the day. And the night is third person because it corresponds to Yediyah. And the day corresponds to witnessing, which is you directly, Yuga.
So is this the only bracha where that process is reversed?
It would seem to be. That's what I believe. That's all based on that. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not just where it's reversed, where it's doubled in the content itself. Usually you only have one component in the beginning of the bracha, and in the content of the bracha you have third person. Here, in the content of the bracha, you have both first person and third person, aside from the Baruch Atah. And that's because Shabbos itself has both first person and third person. The day is third person.
I think it'd be worth actually going through the Kiddush and bringing that out.
Okay, but it's really just okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll add, but okay.
I think because when we say it, it's important that we actually.
It's just these two lines, but yeah, okay. יום השישי ויחול השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוקים ביום השישי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השישי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוקים את יום השישי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא להם כי הם לעשות. That is a quote from the pasuk. That's it.
And that's all third party.
That's just the pasuk that you have not done anything yet.
Right.
Then it says Baruch atah, right? Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam b'orei piragafen. That's all from the rabbis. Okay. So now, to fulfill the actual obligation, we say like this: Baruch atah Hashem. You directly, which is like every bracha. Right? Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav. Now, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadsho hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit. So that's what just happened. We said that God gave us His holy Shabbos in third person, and we've said that this day is Shabbos and it comes from God, but He gave it to us.
So
that's so far that's like a regular.
Following the regular.
Yeah, but we end right. ושבת קדשו הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה ורשת כי יום תחילה מקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ובאתנו קידשת מכל העמים. Some people don't even say that. ושבת קודשך, but then what meaning if you straight up, right? ושבת קודשו הנחילנו, you start off and third person, and then ושבת קודשך הנחלתנו, and you God gave us, shared with us the sanctity, bequeathed us the sanctity. Baruch atah Hashem, blessed you be God, mekadesh HaShabbat. So in the body itself you have He gave us, you gave us. And we end with the you. So what's surprising is we doubled it within the content and we ended with a direct apprehension of God Himself.
Oh, so hang on. So you had the you at the beginning, then we went
That's
into
normal.
Third party.
That's all normal. I mean, it
And
could have
then-
ended over there, but it
and then
doubled,
we
said
went-
the same
and then
thing
we
again,
came
first
into
person.
First person again.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the point.
So
Meaning, that which was the content of any bracha, which is normally third person, we doubled it again just to end off by saying it first person.
Just the first person part of it. There's no doubling of the third person. There's no.
The contents which we referred to initially as third person is doubled again in the form of first person.
I see.
And therefore, there's two things going on over here. It's being doubled in the content itself. You have both aspects of first person and third person in the content itself, which never happens. It's always third person. And it ends
With the
first person, which is
very-
surprising.
I
Yeah.
see.
Okay? And that's because
you, that's much clearer.
Shabbos day is third person. We experience the sanctity of third person with the man, which only retroactively, right? It's in the witnessing by seeing that it does not melt the next day, that we have both aspects then. And
So you couldn't you suggest that the last personalization of the bracha refers to is for the Shabbat day?
Bingo.
Oh, it is?
That's what we've been saying.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That Shabbos day, right, is the aspect of seeing. Shabbos night is the aspect of witnessing. Why? Because you only meaning the knowing of the man that you got extra on Shabbos, that is for Shabbos, that experiencing the sanctity, meaning the fact that man doesn't come on Shabbos is the sanctity of Shabbos.
Right.
But in order to know that this man is not coming down on Shabbos, is that the man you got from Yom Shishi is meant for Shabbos. That's the sanctity. On Yom Shishi, it's the sanctity for Shabbos, right? But that's only clear when it doesn't melt by Shabbos day. You still have it Shabbos day. And that means that at night, now you know what you saw at night. You could not witness it at night because you did not know. It's only post facto. So on the day you see it, that's Re'iyah. At night, it's only Yediyah. So the Yediyah of the night is the third person in the beginning of the Kiddush of Friday night. And the Yediyah, the first person, is the knowledge which corresponds to Shabbos day. Remember, you have to erase the Kiddush of Shabbos day in your mind and pretend that D'oraita, you have to address the Shabbos night like on its level of D'oraita, that it's meant to address both the night and the day.
Right.
And that's its format. That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay, should we pause here?
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Shavua Tov to
Shavua
everyone.
Tov. Shavua Tov.